Both players were cleared of the charges against them, of course, but what can you tell us about their sort of differing version of events?
Well, because they're very different events from different accounts from the Indian perspective and from the England perspective. It was exactly here at lunch on day 2 of the first test at Trent Bridge where that altercation between Jimmy Anderson and Ravi Jadeja first began. We can show you the pictures on Sky Sports. Our cameras picked up that first altercation between the two of them as they left the pitch for lunch on day 2. But what happened since then has really been an increasing acrimony between the two sides. And India, of course, issued a level 3 charge against Anderson. That's one of the most strict charges, one of the most severe charges that can be laid down by the ICC, normally concerning physical abuse, physical violence or racist abuse. No suggestion that Jimmy Anderson was involved in anything like that. They did complain about the alleged bad language that Jimmy Anderson has used. He, in that evidence to the independent judge, made it clear he accepted, he admitted he did swear at Jadeja, but he denies pushing him, and that's what the Indians claimed. Of course, straight after that, England issued a level 2 charge against Jadeja, saying he was the aggressor and he'd started it all, and that Jimmy Anderson was just reacting to all of that. But of course, that's what happened out on the pitch. All of that stuff I've just described to you happened here in this part inside the pavilion, and you can see this is a very public space. Just to the side around there is the long room, the public bar. So all of the altercation between the two of them was in a pretty public area, in truth, but very differing views from both the Indian camp and the England camp.
So, Rob, how did the judge in the case arrive at his conclusion then?
Well, the judge was an independent Australian judge called Gordon Lewis, and he made it clear that there wasn't enough evidence to find either of the men guilty, and I can show you exactly why that is. He first wanted the evidence from this camera up here. Now, that's a camera owned by Nottinghamshire. It's never, ever been switched on. They were going to use it for their blogs on Nottinghamshire Cricket Club. It was never switched on, so there was no filming of this area from that camera. The judge also wanted to try and get some footage from up at that camera as the teams head up towards their changing room, but quite clearly, that camera couldn't see round the corner where I'm standing right now, and this is where the altercation took place. So the judge simply found that there wasn't evidence to find either man guilty. The Indians are not happy about that at all, and that's why there's been increasing acrimony between the two sides. And you get up here, between the two changing rooms. This is the away changing room here. The England changing room is just up those stairs there. It's very narrow, and this is where the players, they have to jostle each other almost to get past. It's a very, very tight space. But importantly, it happened down there, away from the cameras, and that's why the independent judge Gordon Lewis, an Australian, said there wasn't enough evidence to find either man guilty. What's new today is that Sky Sports News has learnt exactly the evidence that was put before him. Jimmy Anderson admits using foul language. That isn't enough for a banning offence in its own right. He denies that he pushed Jadeja. He did admit as well that he said to Jadeja he threatened to break Jadeja's teeth. That's what the Indians claimed against him. All of this more explosive evidence, in truth, in what's already been an acrimonious series. And of course that continues, that series, at Old Trafford on Thursday. And the bad headlines, the bad blood between the two teams, it's only going to be reignited now that we actually know the evidence that was put before that judge, you feel.
And Rob, the other controversy at Trent Bridge surrounds the pitch. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, well, Nottinghamshire, I think, in truth, were pretty regretful about that pitch. The ICC had an independent reviewer who came round and looked at the state of the pitch. He decided it was poor, and it's the first time since the assessments were introduced in 2010 that an English pitch, an English test venue, has had its pitch deemed to be poor. But, importantly, Nottinghamshire have had a very good record with pitches. Steve Burke's, the head groundsman here, is very, very well thought of in the game. He admits he got it wrong on this occasion in that first test. Of course, one that finished in a draw. But Nottinghamshire say they've learned the lessons from it, and importantly, because they'd had such a good record of pitches in the past, the ICC didn't feel there was a fine worthy of putting against Nottinghamshire. They've let them off with a caution. So that matter, as far as Nottinghamshire, now put to bed.